Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason. We're in the kitchen this evening. Angela Kay's over opening up containers of Parmesan cheese, so you know that means something good's on the way. She's going to give you her way. I'm not going to say a recipe because it's not a recipe, okay? It's her way, her method, and how she makes her lasagna. So homemade lasagna recipe, I guess we can say, is on the tap. And she's over here and got stuff out. She's chomping at the bit to show you how to make lasagna.
Now, I'm probably not going to be showing you a cup of this, 2 cups of this, whatever. With lasagna, I measure with my heart.
Absolutely.
I cook with my heart when it comes to lasagna.
Yep.
So I have roughly about 24 ounces, it's not exact, of whole milk ricotta cheese. You can use part skim. It's not going to be as creamy. I prefer whole milk. And I'm going to give it a good couple of inches of salt.
Couple of inches of salt.
Pinches.
Pinches. Oh, I was like, Angela's trying to kill me.
And some fresh grated.
Hey, my insurance policy's not that good.
And some fresh grated pepper. And now I'm gonna add
handfuls of cheese.
Probably a good handful of fresh shredded mozzarella cheese. I really don't recommend pre-shredded, but if that's what you like to use, go right ahead. And I just stir that in. I think I'll add a little more.
See, that's what we're talking about. There's no measurements. We got about 16 pounds of cheese shredded here. And we're going to slowly put it all in lasagna somewhere. Okay, I may have exaggerated by 15 pounds.
Now I'm going to measure with my heart again on Parmesan. I love Parmesan, so I'm going to go a little heavier on Parmesan because I love the flavor that Parmesan adds. This is pre-grated, but it's better quality. It's not the green can. But if that's what you use as a green can,
that's totally okay.
It's totally okay. I don't make lasagna very often.
Yeah.
So when I make it, I go a little all out with it.
Yeah. It's 2 meals plus maybe 3 meals, honestly. It might be 3 meals.
We usually freeze part of it and eat it later.
Yeah. It's tonight, it's tomorrow night, and it's another night.
Yes. At this point, before you add the egg, you want to taste it for seasoning. I wouldn't recommend doing it after you add a raw egg.
Although with our eggs, you could. Our eggs are good enough you could, but
yes,
do not eat. We can't encourage you to eat raw eggs.
We can't encourage you to eat store-bought raw eggs. Like I've told you many times before, I know these chickens personally.
You're not getting a Naomi egg out of the store.
I know these chickens personally.
The store eggs don't have a little brown chicken laying a big old blue egg. Do they?
No.
They do not. Even the $9 a dozen eggs that you get in the store that say they're from heritage breed layers are not the same as these.
No.
And we can say that because we bought them to see.
Yes.
And they are nasty.
Now, I just use 1 egg for this amount. Like I said, measure with your heart.
Absolutely. And that was a large, extra large.
That was an extra large.
Nearly jumbo.
Yes. Naomi is our smallest chicken that lays our biggest egg.
Yep.
But she's my nay-nay. And now your cheese mixture is almost done. Now, this may be controversial.
It sounds silly to say, but I know what you mean.
This may be controversial.
You explained it to me.
There is a debate on whether you add meat or don't add meat. And if you do add meat, if you add it to the sauce, or if you add it to the cheese. I do not add my meat to the sauce. I feel like it makes the sauce greasy. I add it to the cheese.
And I agree with that, actually. I understand your point.
And you can add ground beef or do what I'm doing. This is a pound of sweet Italian sausage. You can't add spicy Italian, but I like the sweet Italian. And I've fried it up nice and brown, and I'm gonna add it in.
I'm gonna be honest with you, my people are gonna get really mad if I say everything I'm thinking today. Because I was gonna say something about killed the neighbor's goat or whatever. I don't know.
By the way, our neighbors do not have goats.
They look like goats.
I'm not commenting on that one.
I love my neighbors. As long as they stay across the road.
Now you want to mix that in really good. And I sauteed that in some olive oil. So I went ahead and added the grease in with it because it's just good olive oil. Because the sausage that I'm using is very lean. So there's nothing wrong with adding good olive oil to it.
No, that ain't hurt you.
So now you have a big bowl of filling. So now we'll get started with everything else. Now we've got a baking dish. I've greased it up with coconut oil spray. You can use any cooking spray you like. And this is my home canned pasta sauce. I'm gonna add about a half of a pint jar. Maybe a little more, probably a little more. Because you want it to be juicy on the bottom.
Yeah, a little sauciness is good for lasagna.
Yes. And this right here is going to be what keeps it from sticking and burning on the bottom, is how much sauce you put on the bottom.
About 10 ounces.
I may end up using, like I said, measure with your heart. I may end up using 2 to 3 pints of sauce.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a big lasagna.
Yeah, well, it's feeding, again, it's for me and you, it's just 3 meals.
And for this, I am using a different sort of lasagna noodle. Mm-hmm. These can be no bake, but, these can be no boil, but I don't like that. So I'm going to soften them first. This is egg pasta. Mm-hmm. We don't have enough eggs right now for me to make my own pasta for the lasagna. So this is as close as I can get to my own homemade pasta.
Yeah.
Because most lasagna noodles that you get do not have eggs in them. It's just semolina flour and water. Mm. At least the good brands are.
Right.
The bad brands are just plain flour and water.
Yeah.
So this is what they look like. See, they're just thin sheets of egg pasta.
Yeah.
They're very thin. So they will soften very quickly. I've got very hot water here. You want to put it in and just leave it there for just a few seconds. You can already feel it starting to get a little more pliable. I can stick my fingers in this water, but that's about as far as I can go. I can't.
It's pretty hot, really hot.
Yeah. And see, it's a little more pliable now. See, you can see it bending.
Yeah.
If you want it more pliable than that, you can leave it in there a little longer. Which I am going to leave it in there just a little bit longer.
But it will finish cooking in the sauce.
Yes,
and everything, right?
it will finish cooking. But see, you can see it's getting more and more pliable as it sits in the hot water. You can leave it in there for up to a minute, but it may be a little too soft at a minute. Okay, they got soft enough, as you can see, that they will bend. Mm-hmm. They will bend really well, but they still have some firmness. Now, if you choose not to soak them at all, and I've got 5 more sheets in here, by the way, in my water. If you choose not to soak them at all, you will have to water your sauce down a little bit because it'll need more moisture to cook in. So I put 3 sheets this way, broke 1 in half and put it in between the cracks, broke 1 in half and put it up here at the top.
For the edges.
So that everything is covered in a pasta sheet. Now we're going to take our cheese mixture, and I'll probably get about 3 layers, so I'm going to divide this in thirds.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Make a peace sign. So you make a peace sign in your cheese.
Yes. A peace sign or a pea sign?
Peace.
A peas sign?
You're silly.
Now you have to be really careful smushing this down, because your pasta sheets will want to wiggle around.
Yep.
So be really careful with that. Now I've got my ricotta mixture spread around, roughly spread around.
Yep.
Now I'm going to add another layer of sauce.
Oh, okay.
Because you need sauciness to finish cooking your noodles.
That makes sense. I was wondering about that. Okay. That makes sense now.
That's why I said it could be as much as 3 jars of my home can.
I see.
Now, we are going to go back to the pasta sheets and we are going to build more layers. This will probably be about 3 layers. And I will show you what it looks like when I get it all layered up.
So just keep doing the same thing you were doing?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now I'm getting ready to put on the last layer of noodles, of softened noodles. And with this baking dish, as you get toward the top, it gets a little more wide.
Because it's fluted. It's angled. You know what I mean?
So I kind of space them a little bit more, but it's okay because I fill in the gaps.
Yep.
I may need an extra pasta sheet with this one.
Reckon?
Possibly, because the big gap here. Because a half isn't going to cover. So I'm going to do a full sheet.
I see what you're doing.
And leave that to soak for just a minute. And do another full sheet over here.
Makes sense.
Because you want good coverage of pasta.
Yep.
I mean, this is a baked pasta dish.
If you're coming out and going through the process to make lasagna, just think and do it right. You know what
Amen.
I mean?
Amen. That's why I take making lasagna very seriously. And like I said, I measure with my heart. Now we'll put that down. And now I have done 2 full pint jars.
That's the end of the second.
Of my sauce. This is the end of the second. And you want to do a good layer of sauce on top. Yep. You want to do a really good layer of sauce on top.
Now, if you're somebody not, and you're trying to make lasagna, and you're not using the sheets, like your pasta sheets like you're using, would you want to lessen the amount of sauce?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. Egg pasta takes a little bit more sauce to cook.
And this is dry.
It's not fully dry.
Okay.
It's not fully dry because you have soaked it. So it has changed the composition of it.
So if you're just buying basic Barilla lasagna noodles, lasagna sheets, how would that change anything?
You would use a little less sauce.
Okay.
But
they're not pre-cooked. You still don't boil them before you put them in, or not?
Well, it depends on which ones you buy.
Okay, that's what
If you buy the no boil, then you will add this much sauce.
Okay.
If you buy the ones you have to boil first, then you will.
So you're boiling.
You will add significantly less sauce.
So you're boiling them and come back and baking them. So you're actually cooking them twice.
You're cooking them twice.
Which is partially why we don't want to cook everything twice. Right. That's partially why we're doing the sheets.
But I also do not like the flat out no boil.
I see.
You can do these no boil, but I prefer to soak them.
I see.
I prefer to soften them up a little. Now I'm going to take the rest of my cheese.
The remaining 14 pounds of cheese goes on top.
This is probably a good...
Total amount of cheese that we shredded was it 24 ounces?
Probably right around
cheese is something that you can honestly just do however the heck you like doing.
Yes.
Right?
You can also, if you don't just want provolone, don't just want mozzarella. If you don't just want mozzarella, you could do provolone. Mix some provolone with it as well.
Absolutely.
Or just do all provolone.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. You could get an Italian blend if you're buying the pre-shredded.
Now, I always do this. I always top mine with some more Parmesan.
Yep.
Because why not?
Why not? I agree.
And then for the first little bit, I always cover mine. You can cover it with foil, and if you do not like covering food with foil, like I don't, I will cover it with a layer of parchment and then cover it with foil on top of the parchment.
Do you tint it over though?
You want to tint it.
Okay.
So that it's not touching your cheese, because otherwise it will pull your cheese off. You kind of dome it over the top. I do a layer of parchment and then a layer of foil over top.
Okay.
That way the foil's not touching the food. And you put it in a 350 degree preheated oven for about 45 minutes like this. About 30 to 45 minutes like this. I will tell you exact times when it's done. Then you take the foil off, you take your covering off, and let it bake until the top is golden brown. This beautifulness is out of the oven.
It's awesome.
And it smells amazing.
Yeah, it does.
And it baked for 40 minutes covered, 20 minutes uncovered. Now I did put, when I took the covering off, I did put it on a baking sheet because it did start to splatter out a little bit. To keep from having oven cleanup, put it on a baking sheet.
Yeah, just as a little spill guard.
Now, this is a very important part. Now you need to let this rest for at least 15 minutes before you cut into it.
We'll probably take longer.
If you don't let it rest, it's going to be very watery when you cut into it.
Yeah.
And when you try to dish it out, it's going to all fall apart.
Yeah.
So you want to let this rest for at least 15 minutes so that it can cool down, settle, everything can settle and come together as one.
It's almost like your meat when you let the juices redistribute.
Yes.
Right, gotcha. All right, y'all, you've seen the beautiful pan of lasagna. You've seen the thumbnail. And so here you see this beautiful bite. It is an amazing looking lasagna. But, hey, looks only good so far. Better taste good. What do you think?
Fork drop.
Y'all, it's a heck of lasagna. Angela K kept telling me, I'm worried it's going to be dry. I don't know. I think it's going to be... She worries about stuff, y'all. There's so much of her's in it. But I'm a healthy 265 pounds. And I didn't get that way from eating a bunch of bad food. I'm going to tell you something right now. That lasagna is amazing. She's always made a wonderful lasagna. She's just gotten better at it, I believe. Because that's amazing. So good. So delicious. And sure, home canned pasta sauce probably helps it. Just because, but she made the pasta sauce, so hey, give her some dang credit, would you? It's such a good lasagna. She knows what she's doing, y'all. If you ever have a question about cooking something, look it up. She may have done a video about it. We got a bunch of videos out there, but that's so good. Angela K killed it again as always. Thank you guys so much for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason, the genius holding the camera. Her name's Angela K. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love you all. God bless you and goodbye.